Welcome back. This is take two of this video. The first one I tried, the chess.com website was entirely down. If you saw my previous video from, I don't know, half an hour ago or so. But it's back up, and this is my group of 12 in the 2022 chess.com Daily Chess Championship. Out of 33,000 or plus players in my group of 12, I was the second highest rated player, and for a little while I had the most wins in my group. But I have lost 2 games to the highest rated player, and that's put me in second place, and only one player is going to advance to round 2. So at this point, unless that player miraculously loses to a 900 or something in the next couple of days, I probably will not advance. So this is the first game that I played. What I do sometimes against a higher rated opponent is just try something new. This much higher rated. There are more than 300 points higher than me. I figured I didn't have much of a chance, so I just tried something new, and we went into a Slav defense, which I'm not very familiar with. I probably should have played the London, but I didn't. And already here, it's showing we're even, but now I'm down. Even though this is a book move, I've already lost the advantage. Whatever advantage white starts with, we're down. And here, the computer wants me to threaten this bishop with this g-pawn, which I am not advanced enough to know why that's good. I know it's guarded by the queen, obviously, and I figure the bishop doesn't want to trade for this knight. So I probably would not go back there or even further. I assume it would go back this way, someplace to help protect the king once a king gets castled. I really don't know. I do know that this would ruin the pawn wall that I'm hopefully going to castle into before too long. So I didn't even think of that, to be honest. I instead moved my knight here, where it would be protected by a pawn, and normally this would be considered a good move because that puts the knight on an outpost square. There are no more pawns here that could challenge it, and it could sit pretty there for quite some time. And from that spot, where, as you can see, the computer calls it a blunder, can guard here, as well as many other squares around it, as well as being safe the whole time. But regardless, now I'm down 4 points according to the evaluation. My opponent makes a couple of inaccuracies, as do I. My idea here was to reroute the knight to threaten that knight. But now I'm down 5 points on the evaluation bar. And from here on out, we didn't play horrible moves. It doesn't like me castling for some reason, even though castling is supposed to be great. And from here, I could tell that I was in a losing battle the whole way. I'm already down a couple of pawns. The pawns that used to be here are now gone. And my opponent has all their pawns. Their D pawn has moved over to this C file, but all their pawns remain. And we kind of fiddle around here, trade a couple of pieces, but I felt like there was not much that I could do. I've now doubled some pawns. Yeah, I've got an open file here, but I don't know what it's going to do for me. My opponent's now threatening this pawn, and from there, they're going to go here. I didn't know what to do. My idea, I guess, was to bring this back, maybe try to cause some mayhem up in here. I mean, once the rook got off this file. But the rook didn't get off the file before I moved that pawn. Yeah, this was my last move of the game. Even though the computer says it's not horrible, you're not supposed to do that even when playing 600s, and I did this against a 1600. So I just went ahead and resigned there, told my opponent good game, and we went on about our business. In the other game against the same opponent, I felt like I did a little better. I was black. I played it ended up being called the Bogo Indian Defense Grundfield variation. I thought I was just playing maybe a Nimzo Indian at this point. But so I just went ahead and traded there, which says is fine. We're almost even on the evaluation bar. I actually thought this is what I was supposed to do here. In some other game I had evaluated, I had moved the C pawn to the center, and it's like, no, you should have moved the D pawn. So here I moved the D pawn, and it says it's not accurate. But regardless, I went in there looking for to trade with that bishop. So I just went ahead and did that. So now we each have a knight and a bishop. I'm castled. My opponent is not. So I feel like I might, have something going here. Have some pieces that are not developed yet, but I didn't realize I was down nearly a full point at this point. So I develop a piece. The idea is to bring it over this way to replace the knight that's gone, which is what I do. The computer doesn't like that. Or that. Or that. Didn't like that at all. That's a mistake. And, oh yeah, probably should have done something about this before I moved that knight. That's why that was a mistake. See, I see that now. Right now the knight is guarding this pawn. But now the knight's not guarding this pawn. So I just lose that pawn for free. And I have to get out of jack. Then the bishop goes back, waiting for the next time it can come down there. Oh, I thought that was good. Not only is that protected and blocking this battery, but it's also guarded by the rook and indirectly guarded by this bishop. But the knight finds a different way down, probably looking for this fork. So I had to, that was why I moved the bishop, by the way, because I actually saw that in advance. So I decided the best way to guard against that was to bring my bishop around. I have no idea if that was correct or not. Maybe I should have just done this. But yeah, so they went ahead with it, and I went ahead and brought the bishop around, protecting against that fork. They're preparing a different route for their queen to come over here once the bishop's not looking at that spot. Yeah, now I'm 4 points down. Of course, I don't realize this. I just know I'm down that one pawn. I know my king isn't incredibly safe, and the idea here was to something like that. But instead, we traded bishops. Now I have to use my queen to guard that spot, as well as all the other places that the knight can go. And now, this is trouble. I'm not sure exactly where that rook is meant to head, but I decided to cut it off at the pass. But they've got an extra pawn they can throw into this mix. I decided to get my rook out of that possible fork in the future in case I have to move my queen. And then so we trade some pawns here, and then, if I don't take this rook, they're going to take me, and then my queen's going to be over here and can't protect against stuff like that. So, yeah. So now I'm 2 pawns down, if you're still counting. And this was kind of weak. I was, just either going after this pawn or thought in the future I can maybe hit that queen. But at this point, I'm really not sure what to do. So I just decided to kind of just drive through here. Got a rook behind it. Why not do some counterplay? It didn't work out, obviously, because, yeah. See what happens when a piece moves? This pawn is guarding the knight. The knight, which has currently got pressure on it. And when you do that, nothing's guarding the knight anymore. This is basic, 800 stuff. But yeah, so I lost my knight. Now I'm down to 2 pawns plus a piece. So I continued with my useless plan of just moving pawns forward. But of course, that pawn move allows the queen to come over here, which it does. And I don't have much choice but to kind of zigzag my way out of there. Now here, actually, let's go back a couple of moves. Right here, before the queen took that pawn, I realized the rook could just go ahead and come down right now. And there's not much I can do about it. But they waited, took the pawn, check one more time. Maybe I should have gone back. I have no idea. But now the rook can come down, and it does. And of course, as soon as this knight moves, the queen is looking at this diagonal. Right now, the queen is blocking off all these squares, so I can't go run away this way. Can't go here because of their pawn. so I have to get in front of my queen. So I do. And there's one more check, which forces me to go over by the rook, and then I lose. So I felt like I was behind from the beginning, just like in the other game. And right up here, it shows my opponent did not have any mistakes, any blunders, and 0 inaccuracies. Whereas I had 2 mistakes and 4 inaccuracies. So, by the way, I do not, I do not suspect my opponent of cheating. I have personally had games with 0 blunders, 0 mistakes, and 0 inaccuracies. So, just because somebody occasionally has a game like that, I don't suspect them of blundering. I mean, of cheating. They just played a good game. I gave them a few opportunities. They took advantage of them. And hopefully this person will perform well in the next round. Although I've looked through the leaderboards of some of the other groups, the next round is going to be tough. This person will probably be near the bottom of the next round, or in the middle at best. There are players in this tournament rated 2,300, 2,000. So, but I wish them luck, and in fact, we said this in the chat. The player thanked me for a couple of good games. I wish them luck in the next round, and if anything changes with the aforementioned leaderboard here, we still see all these blue squares. Those are still games that are going on. I am still in 7 games. No, sorry, 6. That one's over. I'm not sure why it's not showing that it's over. But I'm still in 6 games. My opponent is still in 5 games. Something could change. They could accidentally lose to a 1,200 rated player or an 800 rated player. Who knows? But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.